Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Virginia, and today I have brand new fall DIYs for 2024. My favorite part about the DIYs in this video is that they are all dupes of really high-end, expensive fall decor that I've seen at Anthropologie, and we're gonna make it for less using Dollar Tree items and some even using items that I just found around my house. This one, I saw the idea on Anthropologie, which if you don't know, it's a very expensive store. They sell clothing, but also a lot of home decor and lifestyle products. And they had a terrarium that looked like it was in a terracotta pumpkin pot. So my intention for this was to paint our pumpkin and then put in my own Dollar Tree florals into the Dollar Tree pumpkin. So I started off by cutting off the top of the pumpkin using an X-Acto knife. I really thought the pumpkin was going to be hollow and I'd have to fill it with floral foam. So I was pretty surprised that it was not a hollow pumpkin. It was filled with styrofoam. Next, I was going to paint the pumpkin using some of my terracotta paint from Folk Art, but I actually loved the texture and the color of this pumpkin. I picked it up at the Dollar Tree, and especially once I took the top off, it just looked really high-end to me, so I decided to go against the idea of replicating it exactly like the Anthropologie one. Really, I'm just using those as an inspiration. Whenever I do floral arrangements, I like to go by the phrase a filler, a spiller, and a thriller. So the large chrysanthemum is going to be the thriller, the focal point of this DIY. I had the little orange mums as the filler in between, and then spiller, I used some of these other longer orange pieces of floral picks, and those are kind of spilling on the outside of the pumpkin. Then to hide any of the foam that you might have been able to see at the top of the pumpkin, I added a little bit of hot glue and then went in with Spanish moss to just clean everything up and really make it look like we just picked this out of the patch. When I saw the inspiration behind this DIY on Anthropologie's website, I saw that it was $60, which is not by any means inexpensive, but wasn't crazy expensive until I realized that the $60 in the picture was just for the fairy lights, not for the lantern or anything inside of it. So for only $3, I made my own. I was really surprised to find this lantern for only $3. I for sure thought it was going to be $5. For $3, I think this is a really great deal when you think about all of the items at Dollar Tree now for $1.25. Adding in just, a little bit extra money to get this lantern, I thought was a great deal. So I picked this up, and all the pumpkins I actually picked up last year, they are the clip pumpkins covered in fabric, and I just started filling up my lantern. I did stop about halfway through to add in my own fairy lights, which I like to get these on Amazon. I'll leave them linked down below. It's just a lot easier to do it when you're halfway rather than when you're all the way at the end. You can, of course, hot glue your pumpkins in here, but I like doing lots of DIYs. I like reusing my pumpkins and reusing things year after year. So I got them to all stay put without using hot glue. Also, you could just use a little bit of tape and I think that they would be fine. For a final little touch, I picked up all of these gorgeous velvet ribbons off of Amazon. I'll also link that down below. And I'm just loving the texture and the richness of the color that it brings to my fall crafts. So I added a little bow onto our lantern. I picked up one of the Acorn Decor pieces at Dollar Tree and transformed it into a matchbox. It even has a little sticker on the bottom that you can strike the match against. I really wanted to find the pumpkin version of this, but of course, when you go looking for something at Dollar Tree, you can't find it. But I did find one of the acorns, so for purposes of wanting to get this out in this video, because the inspiration, of course, is from Anthropologie again, I just had to go with this one. So it's not like the pumpkin in the picture. I covered the entire acorn, both the bottom and the top, with some of that terracotta paint from Folk Art, which I used last week if you watched last week's video, but I wanted it to be even more textured, almost more of a concrete or a really rough terracotta. So I went in with some baking soda and sprinkled that all over once I had my paint down, but before I let the paint dry. So once I did that to both our base and the top, again, covering it in baking powder, it would be a lot easier if I had like a powdered sugar sifter or something, because I just very delicately tried to get the baking soda on top and not have it all pour out. But once that was fully dry, I did just kind of take my hand and my finger and brush off any of the excess so that we're just left with this textured container. To go on the bottom of this, which I thought was so cool, I found these match striking stickers, so you can put them on anything. I put it on the bottom here. I'm gonna have this hold my matches, so then when I'm ready to actually use it, I can flip it to the side, or upside down and strike the match on it. I thought that was a really fun touch. I found these on Amazon as well. I swear I'm finding everything good on Amazon lately, but I will link that down below. Then I went in my kitchen drawer. I think we all have that kitchen drawer, which is full of matches, and I placed those all on the inside of the Acorn. I loved this DIY because not only does it look cute and fit with the season, but it's actually practical. So now instead of having to go and get my lighter when I want to light my fall scented candle, I can just go to my Acorn jar. Next up, I have always wanted to try making my own tinted glass, my own amber glass. I really wanted to try it last year, but I got married last year. If you haven't checked out my wedding video, I will link it above. I did a lot of DIYs for it, and I was so busy with the wedding DIYs that I didn't have time to do all of the fall crafts that I wanted. So we were going to DIY our own amber glass. I picked up a large mason jar and filled it with a bunch of Mod Podge. Then I went into my food coloring and I did 5 drops of red and 5 drops of green. But when I started to stir all of this together, it was just coming out green. I didn't really see any of the red coming through. So after I stir it for a bit, I realized this is not the color I want. You almost want light brown color, and this was coming out way too green. So I added about 3 more of my red drops. If you have brown food dye coloring, then just go ahead and use that, but I did not have that color. So I am just creating my mixture here. Next, you are going to tilt it and swirl it until the Mod Podge covers all over the mason jar. You might be thinking, why not just do this in a separate container and then paint it on with a brush? Well, that's exactly what I thought, and I did that. And so this is actually my second time doing this DIY because I did that and it did not coat the glass thick enough, and you were able to see all of the streaks of paint and it did not come out good. So on take number 2, I just did it all in the jar and really coated it well in the Mod Podge. Then I popped it in the oven at 200 degrees for 45 minutes. And you can see in the glass, I did mess up a little bit. I didn't quite spill it enough on the back to cover it. So you do see a little bit of that dripping. So in order to hide that and kind of mask it, I went in with some of that brown velvet ribbon. And now the spill is not quite as obvious. I also realized that mine came out a little bit more purple than amber. And I think it's because I went in with extra red food coloring, but I really liked the way it turned out. I actually think if I added in some purple and black floral picks, I could even use this for Halloween, but I decided to just use one of these floral picks from Target that I had and pop it in here, and I think it turned out great. I think it's because fall is the beginning of those cozier months, but I have seen tons of different fall scented candles, candle holders, all things candle related when it comes to fall in the stores and in stores online. So I saw this candle holder again at Anthropologie and thought it would be so unbelievably easy to make over using Dollar Tree supplies. Dollar Tree sells these foam pumpkins. I picked them up last year because they give you a bunch and usually you don't need all of them in the container. So very similar to what we did in our previous DIY, only this time with a smaller foam pumpkin. I used that same X-Acto knife to cut out the space that I needed my candlestick to go in, then put the candlestick in there just to make sure that it was enough. I was really surprised that it didn't topple over. I thought because this was only made of foam and not metal or something heavier that there was no way the candle was going to stay upright, but I'm shocked that it actually did. If for some reason it didn't, my next idea was to just make the hole all the way through the pumpkin, and it would be more like a candle ring around the candle than an actual holder that it sat in. So that's always an option if you have a heavier candle. I then went in with some gold folk art paint, and that was all that it took to transform a little foam pumpkin from the Dollar Tree into something that I think looks a lot more high-end. I have seen bat candles, ghost candles, pumpkin candles all over the internet. These ones specifically, I haven't exactly seen, but I've seen one similar enough on Anthropologie and lots of other stores. And it's such an easy DIY, but how cute does it look when it is finally done? So I picked up 2 of these black candle holders from the Dollar Tree. I really like these. They're a little bit more lightweight than I anticipated. Not that I really thought it was going to be heavy duty from the Dollar Tree, but I think they look so nice and they're perfect for Halloween. Definitely give off the spooky vibes. The next part is super easy, just like you probably think. I'm going in with some bat stickers and covering my candle. But remember, you can do this however you want. If you want fall harvest candles, go in with some pumpkin stickers. If you like ghosts better, you can really go in with anything to decorate your candles. These bats specifically, I did cut out of vinyl, but Dollar Tree has tons of stickers. They also have temporary tattoos you could put on. I saw rub-on transfers. I'd be curious to know how those worked. Let me know in the comments down below if you have ever done a candle makeover for whether it's fall or Halloween. I would love to know. I'm trying to think of lots of ideas. It's just such a fun way, and especially because I'm using stickers, a temporary way to dress up something that you already have. And then at the end of the season, you can just peel those stickers off and reuse them for another craft or DIY. Thank you all so much for watching. Until next time, keep searching, keep creating.